Hey guys, my name is Ronald and this is a test video I want to record for presenting you some of the techniques of Dungeon Universalis, which have been played for some months now, and it's nothing less than the best game in the world for me, the best dungeon crawler at all, and I want to share some of the impressions with you. For the beginning, as you will have noticed, English isn't my first language, so I've also recorded some videos in my first language, German. So if you're a German viewer, just skip over this video and go to the German videos. I think they are much funnier than this video will be. I'm trying to find the right words in English and show you some of the pretty cool stuff here in done like Dungeon Universalis, and I think we're gonna start now, and I'm recording this video in my pretty good garage studio. It's almost 27 degrees Celsius in here, and I hope you won't hear the fan too loud in the background. But this is a test video, and let's see what what benefit we all can take out of this. So okay. This setup is a demo setup. It has nothing to do with the real quest or the real game. Yes, the techniques are the same, but this is not taken from a quest or something. It's just a simple corridor here with a door leading to a room. And the simple task the heroes have now is to open the door and enter the room. This sounds pretty simple compared to other dungeon crawlers, because hey, what's the problem? One of these guys here will start and run to the door and open it and see what's behind it. Yes, in many other games, and almost any other games I've played, this would do the trick, and but Dungeon Universalis is different in a much more positive way than the others, if you like the thematic and immersive gameplay. So each step in this dungeon could be your last, and in almost every dungeon could be your last, as long as the Dark Player, which is the Overlord in Dungeon Universalis, can play several cards to make your to give you a hard life in the dungeon, and to spawn enemies, to power up the enemies, or to play traps. And this is the main problem why the heroes should always watch for their steps, because there can be traps everywhere. So I simulate play against the artificial Dark Player. You can play done with several modes. You can play it solo, you can play it cooperative, which is technically the same, just solo means more to play it with one hero and some mercenaries and pets around you. Or you cooperative play, which you can also play as solo for sure, of course. You have a group of heroes, also maybe with pets and mercenaries around you, and you play against an artificial Dark Player who tries to simulate the human in a very good way. Or you play against a human Dark Player. He has some decks with cards to draw from, to power up and to play the cards and to spawn enemies. And the artificial Dark Player has also some decks, and he will always try to play a card. And when he has a chance to do it, and he has to throw the scenario die. This isn't used by the real Dark Player because he has a the ability to choose from his hand cards to play a card. The artificial player has not. So every time when the artificial dark player wants to play a card, he will roll, or you will roll the die for him, and if the symbol on it matches the type of card he wants to play, a power card or an obstacle card or an encounter card, you can, if it will match, then the card will be played. You will try to play it, maybe it can't be played because it's not possible, then it will be discarded, and the artificial dark player will get a bonus to his reserve point counter, which is this tableau in the background here. I don't know the real word. Here the artificial dark player and the dark player, the human dark player can check their reserve points, which at the beginning of the quest is equally to the heroes party's value points. So all of the heroes, for example this guy here, have value points. If it's a fresh character, it's for usually 10 value points. So you summarize them up, and then you have the group value. Maybe there you have relics, magic items, special items, which also have value points, or mercenaries or pets, and you make a sum of all that stuff you have. Then you have your group value, and then you know how, and then the dark player knows how many points he has to make your life bad. Okay. As I said in German, this sounds much better. Okay, but I try my best. I think, yeah. So, for example, this party has a value of 33 points, value points, because they are fresh new heroes and have no stuff, no companions, no items or something. This is a simple demo. For sure they have weapons, they have potions and stuff, but I want to keep it simple. So the dark player would take 33 points here on this counter at the beginning, and that's his limit. So he can't play he can't spawn as many enemies as he wants, or to play as many traps as he wants. He always has to pay for them, and we'll see how this will work. And we're coming back to our main quest, our main task in this quest, this demo quest, to open that door. Just before we do that, I will try to introduce you the party. We have a warrior with a halberd, with a giant axe. He's my party's tank. The guys you see here are their newborn status. They are freshly generated, as I already told you. But these guys are also the gang I'm playing the campaign with. This is my Shardmind wizard. You can see her here. This is a figure from Dungeons & Dragons. I don't think this is a female character. It's obviously an elf, but he has a staff, and he's a wizard, so it fits. And the color doesn't matches, so everything's fine for me. We have a small goblin with a bow, which fits perfectly because my goblin Larnak has a short bow in this demo, and he also has a scimitar carrying with him around. So these are the guys: the warrior, the scout, so he's an explorer, the wizard, female wizard, elemental wizard, so she can cast several elemental spells. I will keep it very simple in this demo, so I won't show you any of these cards or of the weapon cards. I just want to give you a small introduction into Dungeon Universalis and how dangerous it's there for the party to go, to watch your step, because why it's different from other dungeon crawlers. Maybe you have played Descent 2 or Sword and Sorcery, or several others don't come to my mind now, and you will see those are pretty simple, and I don't say they are easy, but they are simple in with their rules. Dungeon Universalis is very, very, very complex with and fiddly with the rules, but all of the rules make absolutely sense. There's no rule where I said, oh, well, why I have to do this? This makes no sense to me. This is, I'm freaking out. So everything makes sense. Everything is thematically suiting very good. Yeah, okay. Now let's start. See what happens. So, like I said, in any other dungeon crawler, or most of them, this guy will step forward. This is a tank. He will go to the door, open the door to maybe there are many enemies behind the door. So he's the tank, and he wants to take all the damage because those guys are pretty weak, really, really weak. They have 3. The wizard has 3 life points, and the goblin has 4 hit points, and the wizard has no armor. She isn't allowed to wear any armor. The goblin has small armor, leather armor, which is okay, but not good, really good. And Croxer, that's the name of the guy here. He has a natural armor of 4. He's wearing breastplate, boosting him to 6 armor. It's very hard to hit him. I will show you when we look into the fight, the combat. He also has only 5 life points, which is not very much, because you have you can play an ogre or a troll or something as a hero, and they will have up to 12 points or 15 points or something. But because he has the armor, he has also the skill hardened, which let him reduce his damage by 1. So yes, it's not the best tank I can imagine, definitely not. But I play him. I like to play him very very well, and yeah, it's fun to play him with him. Whatever. Okay, let's start the action. Okay, come back to this. So the tank in any other dungeon crawler, I'm repeating myself, I'm sorry, would start to walk to the door, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, open the door and see what's behind. So in Dungeon Universalis, this is a pretty bad idea, because as soon as you step out of the party's safe zone, I'll explain this shortly. He will, the artificial dark player or the human dark player have the chance to play a trap card. So, just to explain the safe zones, I will take some of these markers here. These are mana markers. I just take them because I have them around. Every hero's character or companion or whatever in the hero's party have a safe zone of 2 fields around them. So if I would set them here, you have these fields around them as a safe zone. There, no trap can be activated by the dark player. If I combine these, they have a real big area which no trap can be played by the dark player. So here, they in both directions, he will have a safe zone until here or here, and the guy here to the back also. But also, here, and all squares around them, there's the safe zone, so other characters of the heroes can walk all over here as long as they stay in the safe zones and no trap can be activated. So I take them, I let them here to give you a better overview. So at the moment this guy is going to step out of the safe zone onto a field, the artificial dark player will always try to put a trap on that field. So in fact, he isn't stepping onto the field already. He's also only trying to. So in fact, he's floating in the air, and now the artificial dark player wants to know if he can play a trap card. So he has to roll an obstacle symbol, which has a chance of 33%, like all other symbols. So let's see. Perfect. He has rolled an obstacle. So we take a card from the obstacle deck, and it's a card. It's a trap. Haha. Okay, let's look at the card. It will cost the dark player 3 points to play that. So you have to reduce his counter here of 3 points. Otherwise, if he couldn't play the card, he would discard this card, just discard it and get 2 points to his counter, to his account. And yeah, it's an electric shock. It's a trap, which this symbol represents. It's an obstacle card. This card can be played into squares in rooms and corridors, or it can play it onto a door or onto a chest. So what does it mean? It's an electric shock. It affects the square occupied by the player who triggered it. He suffers 5 damage dice, 10 in case he's wearing heavy armor. And Cruxo is wearing a breastplate, which is heavy armor. So in the moment he would step on this field, he would he wouldn't recognize the trap. He will get 10 damage dice. 10 damage dice against for any other of this party, it's like instant death, I guess. But he has a chance to survive because the electric shock has to roll a 6 per damage die to make a wound. So there's a good chance for him to survive, but you won't have it anyway. Maybe you have a not so hardened character which has a heavy armor, and there are only 5 or 4 needed, and that's you don't want to activate it. So how can you recognize the electric shock trap? This point here. It's a perception symbol, the same as here on the heroes card here. There's no value in it because every hero only has a perception and dexterity value of null. So and that's represented by a minus, because you also cannot level them up. Only any other attributes you can level up by gaining XP and spending XP, but you cannot do this for dexterity and perception. Only skills and only items can raise these values. And in fact, he's wearing a breastplate. He has some deductions, in fact, to several attributes. He only can move 1 step less. He only has an agility of 2 instead of 3, and he has a perception of -1. And this means tests rolls in Dungeon Universalis are the main technique to see if you're successful in combat in magic and in initiative and such things. So in this case you need a perception roll with your bonus and or penalties. Sorry for seeking the words. You need a test value of 9 to recognize this trap. So you roll the die. Let's see. It's 5. 5 minus 1, because he has -1 in perception, means a value of 4. A 4 means not. you need a 9. It's far away from that. So this trap will be activated. He could gain the full 10 damage die against him. Okay. So his starting position, oh god, I'm seeing the words, No, his baseline of -1 is pretty bad for recognizing the traps, because 9 isn't indeed a high value. Sometimes you have traps of 11 or 10, so he would have to roll now he have to roll a 10, an 11, or a 12, because he's -1 in his perception, to avoid this trap. If the trap would require a roll of a value of a result of 11, he would have to roll a 12 to solve this, and that's you can all calculate that for yourself. It's not easy. So that's why it's in Dungeon Universalis you always have to think about to not let the tank go first. It's not always this decision, but you should always think about it. And otherwise, you should think about letting the scout or an exploring character go at first, because they are made for perception. I show you Larnak, my goblin. He also has a base value of null in perception, but he's small. He's a small character. He's a skill small because he's a goblin, which gives him a +1 in perception. He also has I think he has a trapper skill or something that makes him also a +1. And he has in fact, even if this is the card coming with the game, the initial card, you can modify it. It's just for recording this video. Here indeed he has a value of +2 in perception, which is much better to recognize this trap. On the other side, if he steps on the trap, if he can't recognize it, he wouldn't get 10 dice, because he doesn't wear heavy armor, but he's wearing but he would also get 5 damage dice against him, and this is for a small character like him also not a good result. Let's make a test. If he would have activated the trap and he has an armor value of 4, this time luck for Larnak. Okay. Rearranging some things here. Okay, back to electric shock. So instead of letting the tank go first, I would have let Larnak first. He's trying to detect the trap while stepping on it. He has a +2, so you just only need a 7 to solve this test. Bad luck for him. But we have fortune points. Fortune points, these markers here. Each hero character has them. No mercenaries, no pets, no enemies. But heroes have them. They can they can spend to re-roll one roll of them of the hero side, or on the character side, spending the point, not for other heroes, or for forcing the dark player to re-roll the dice for a test, or damage dice, or every roll. Let's see if that would work. Poor Larnak. He will also activate the trap. Okay, let's pretend he had more luck. Then he had detected the trap. He wouldn't have stepped on the field on this in this case. There would be a marker for the trap. There is a marker for the trap. I have it around here, so I put that point here. So to mark, there's an electric shock. Now the trap is there. We can what we can do now. His activation is over for the moment, because he wanted to run to step on the trap. He avoided it by recognizing it, but his activation is over. So he or another character could now go and try to deactivate this trap. They just can go around. There's no problem, because they don't have to step on it. If they step on it, it will activate for of course, and burn them down to hell. So. But sometimes you want to deactivate it, maybe it's in a bad position, blocking all the way, or you want to gain some achievement point against the dark player to gain more experience at the end of the quest. If you want to deactivate the trap, you have to make a dexterity roll. Also have to, in this case, also you have to reach a result of 9 or more, and in that case the trap will be absolutely deactivated, cannot do any harm. But if this roll fails, and you can guess it, I think it would be activated. So this is an electric shock. This is the reason why letting the tank running through the corridor all alone isn't the best idea. In my experience, and I don't have that much experience, but some experience, it's never, for me, it's in my party combo here, it's never a good idea to let them run in front. I'm always trying to let Larnak the Goblin go first to detect the traps or the traps on the doors, and that's in the next step of the video. I remove these markers to not confuse you anymore. One fun fact in the middle of the video, I have no script for this. I'm talking absolutely free. I hope I don't do any mistakes. I don't. You have to live with all the M's and the U's and the U's. Sorry, I'm very sorry for it. It's already a thing in the German videos, but seeking the right words in English is much more heavy for me. And yeah, I hope you can deal with it. So let's pretend the party has overcome the traps and the dark player couldn't play any traps, whatever, they have reached the door. So once again the question, who will open the door? And that's a really good question, because it's the same situation. In the moment one hero wants to open the door, the dark player has again the chance to put a trap on the door, and that means the artificial dark player would roll again. Let's see, perfectly. He would make he would play a card on it. This card is an example. It's complete darkness. It couldn't. In fact, I just have to check it. Yeah, you can also play this card. It's complete darkness. We'll make the section into darkness. We'll ignore it for simplicity. What having also we have this card. Yeah, we take this card. Flares. Flares also a trap. It can be played on doors. Perfect. The dark player has to spend his 3 points to do it. I will lower his account. And he will play flares. Each character located in the section is hit by a flare from the ground. They deal 3 fire damage dice each. So even if the wizard is still standing here, the section is the whole corridor in this case, he would be affected by this trap if it isn't recognized, and that's the point, because letting do this, it's the same thing. The character who wanted to open the door is like the character who wanted to step on the field in the last example. He has to make a perception test. He has to reach this result, otherwise it will be activated. And once again, if we let do this guy, the tank, the work, he has a -1 on perception. He has a really bad chance to do this. So if the explorer will do it, the small Larnak here, the goblin, he has a +2. He's in a very better situation to recognize this trap. Okay, let's pretend there's no trap. They can open the door, and let's see what happens then. I open the door. It's open now. So we check if there are enemies behind it. The dark player has the human dark player has the chance to draw a card from his hand, to play a card from his hand, not to draw, and place enemies in there. In the artificial dark player's case, we have to roll the die and to roll this encounter icon. Let's see. Too bad. No enemies would be in this room. let's pretend we would have wrote this to see what happens now. So we draw a card from the encounter deck. It's enemy spotted. Use this card as soon as a character reveals a new unexplored section. The dark players may spawn creatures up to worth of up to 6 points. Not 2 cards of this kind, but okay. It's an encounter card. It costs 6 points to play, and if the dark player don't want to play it, it will be discarded and he gain 4 points. So because we are playing against an artificial dark player, this value is ignored. Don't spend this 6 points. We have to roll for it. What we do now, taking the bestiary book, this book. Okay, it's hard to see with this camera position, but I'll do my best to show it to you. In this great book, okay, I move the camera and I hope it will work. You can see it. I pretend to play against the Northern Barbarians. The book is full of factions with great enemies. I'll show it in another video if I make another one in English. You can see the whole guys belonging to this faction: ogres, warriors, shooters, fanatics, barbarian champions, and the really bad guys, the elite and champions, barbarian shaman, hunter, and the clan lord. They are equal to heroes. They are characters as the heroes. They have the same stats. They have stats. They have the same skills. They have the same weapons, like in a real pen and paper role-playing game. And bottom there's a spawn table, and we do now roll a die to see what's going on. 2. The card was enemy spotted, so we take this column. Let's see what's here. 2. There may be some bonus to add, but we'll skip this for now. And see, 2 warriors with spear and shield, 2 shooters with short bow will be in this room. And you have to play 4 value points for them. Not the points on the card, only 4 value points. And I try to position this camera again. So, okay. Okay, in this demo we don't use that, guys. I've prepared something else. We have a beauty red-haired barbarian warrior, female warrior. We have a guy with an axe and a shield. I place them here. And we have a dire wolf. So we have cards for this. We pretend the warriors are the same, just with with different standees. These are the warrior card. These are warrior cards, like in the book, so we don't have to use the book. And this is the card for the dire wolf. These cards don't belong to the box, to the game box. This is fan made from a great guy from the Board Game Geek. You can download them there and print them on your own. Yeah, and now we're going to step in. And before we can do this, we have to roll for initiative. It will be an opposing roll, so both sides will make it and have the chance to win the initiative. And then combat turn for them or for us will begin. And combat is working and done. Each party will move and make the actions for all of their figures, and then after that the turn for the other party begins, and they will play all of their characters. So if we lose the initiative, all of these guys will come to the door and try to stomp that little goblin into the ground. That would be bad. Which is, yeah. An initiative is also a test made by perception. And now as I think you can see, it's again a really bad idea, in my case, in my party here, to let the warrior open the door, because the warrior once again has -1 in perception, the goblin has a +2, and on the other side there's a party, there's a gang, the dire wolf has a +1 in perception, in perception. So if the warrior would open the door, there would be a -1 against a +1, which is a pretty bad situation. It's not impossible to win, but it's harder, and much harder in my opinion. So when playing against the human dark player, you always take the figure which is nearest to the one who opened the door or explored the new section. But playing against an artificial dark player, always the perception value of the character with the most perception will be taken, which means if this guy would have been placed here, which is impossible when you're playing against an ADP, but maybe the room is full of enemies, and in the last line there's standing the dire wolf with a +1, you would roll except perception, initiative test against this character. So and let's do this. We have Larnak here with +2. We have this guy with a +1. Let's see what happens. Oh, it's a good roll for both sides. It's an 8 for the dark side. It's a 10 for the heroes. So the heroes have 1, and we can start with the combat. And it's there's another rule in Dungeon Universalis, which is pretty cool. It's called the Caught by Surprise rule. So if you win the initiative and both of your dice values exceed the enemy's intelligence value, which was a dire wolf. The dire wolf is here. He's an intelligence of 1 because he's an animal. He's not the smartest guy around here. We always would have you would have always won that roll, because we all on 1 is the lowest value to reach. You can reach. Okay, but maybe we would have rolled against warrior. He has a 4 in intelligence. So in this case, it also would have reached both dice for themselves. Would exceed the value of the intelligence, and so the Caught by Surprise rule can be applied, which means every character in the room or that have been revealed from the enemy side in an area of 6 fields can be moved by 1 field to an adjacent field, which is not blocked by an obstacle or a bonfire or something. And the facing can be changed. So you have facing on these standees. It's you have a model number here on the back. So this is the back side, this is the front side. Otherwise, it's the same picture. We can now change the facing, which gives us a benefit in a combat. So they are now staring at the wall at the end of the room, because we have surprised them by opening the door, and we also can move them. Depending on the situation, it can be great to move them together, because the wizard might have spells. The wizard in your party might have spells to cast against a target, and also affecting adjacent characters. We could move them next to the door, so it's easier to hit them. We don't have to walk that much, or the ranged characters, the guy with the short bow could benefit, but it makes no difference if they are 2 or 3 away. But if we want to go into the room, and we want to go into the room because there's only one small door we can go through, if we stand them here, in the moment this guy is entering the room, he will be bound, he will be engaged by her because he's in her melee range, and he would be forced to stay in that field, and he only can try to disengage in his next activation or to combat her in melee, and he's equipped with his short bow at the moment, so that's not a good idea. So what I want to do is to shoot at her, to enter the room, go to one of the sides, to stay a little bit away from them, but out of reach, I hope so. After that, a wizard can make a step to the front and make a spell or something, or the warrior at the end, the warrior can walk into the room and try to engage one of the guys. Maybe there's not all of them are standing at that moment because we have already killed one of the guys. Yeah. Okay, this isn't the best strategy. I want to try to show you some of the functionalities. It would be much better or efficient to stand them next, to let the spellcaster begin. He is an average-sized character. He can spell. He can cast a spell against her because Larnak, the small goblin, is lower than her, so she can. She has a line of sight, and then she could burn them, this character and the adjacent ones too, and then Larnak can shoot, and so. But I want to show you much more, or a bit more. Much more is the wrong term. Okay, but at this moment I would try to make a cut in this video because it's a test video. Maybe I want to see if my stumbling words are too bad to publish more of these videos. If you're interested in more videos like this, it would be an honor for me to make them. I hope you can follow my bad English, and yeah. Leave me a comment. But I'll also show you if this is a good way to present this, if the camera is bad, if the audio is bad, if my speaking is bad, and yeah, I hope I like the video. I think I can publish it, and you will like it too, and you can take some benefit from it. Maybe you can learn a bit about Dun or see how great the game is. It is not the modernist game type. It's for me, it's like I said in the intro, it's the best game I've played so far because it's like a dream coming true from my youth when I played Hero Quest in the 90s and always thought, oh, it would be so great if this can be so and so, and we can make this and that and so and so. I have missed Advanced Hero Quest in the 90s, which was great if I have read the manual. I think it was a great addition, but not for everyone, not for every Hero Quest player, but I truly would have liked it. But yeah, I missed that. Dungeon Universalis is a kind of reinventing Advanced Hero Quest, using Advanced Hero Quest and rules and skills from it, and making it much more enemies, much more factions, much more the story around the quest, the campaign mode running around the map. Making the campaign turns, the travel events with cards, and it's absolutely great. It would be an honor for me to present you much more from it. In German, I've made already about 7 or 8 videos presenting the combat and a whole epic event with preparation, also with setup, with strategy, with action, playing the event. I've made a a long video about a campaign turn. I've made, yeah, I'm going to make the combat, explain the combat, the melee combat, the range combat, the magic combat. Yeah, these are my goals in German. There are not many German players, but I fight to make Dungeon Universalis more popular. There will be a reprint in October 2020. I hope so, and then we will. I hope I could advertise it in much more, so there will be a much greater player base in Germany or in German-speaking countries. Sorry for my bad. Yeah. Okay. I hope you like it. I hope you get some comments, and yeah. See you guys.